Here's what Trump's tariffs mean for Tesla. U.S. President Donald Trump formally launched tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China over the weekend, a decision that is widely expected to have sweeping implications for Tesla, other automakers, and a broad range of other industries. The Trump administration announced the news on Saturday, effectively establishing a 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican imports, as well as a 10% tariff on products from China. The tariffs will go into effect on Tuesday, and they have already caused ripple effects and a larger trade war with some of the companies. Canada Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Mexico President Claudia Sheinbaum spoke on the phone over the weekend, and while Sheinbaum hasn't yet formalized or disclosed plans for counter-tariffs, Trudeau announced some on Saturday evening, according to Reuters. In the announcement, the Prime Minister said that Canada will also establish a 25% tariff on $155 billion worth of products from the USA. Trudeau has said that the government will release an updated list of products and tariff details, though the initial list included products such as certain appliances, beer, wine, lumber, and other goods. He also says that the government plans to start with $30 billion on Tuesday, as followed by the additional $125 billion later this month. The Trump administration says the tariffs are aimed at addressing an emergency situation related to the import of illegal drugs, including fentanyl, along with pointing the blame at illegal immigrants. President Trump is taking bold action to hold Mexico, Canada, and China accountable to their promises of halting illegal immigration and stopping poisonous fentanyl and other drugs from flowing into our country. The White House writes on its fact sheet, dedicated to the order, Tesla joins group of automakers suing EU for EV tariffs from China-built cars. Tesla Texas lithium refinery produces its first spodumene. Trump follows up, auto workers weigh in on how tariffs will affect the industry. On Sunday, Trump also followed up with a post on his Truth Social account in response to criticism. The USA has major deficits with Canada, Mexico, and China, and almost all countries owes $36 trillion, and we're not going to be the stupid country any longer. Make your product in the USA, and there are no tariffs. Why should the United States lose trillions of dollars in subsidizing other countries? And why should these other countries pay a small fraction of the cost of what USA citizens pay for drugs and pharmaceuticals? As an example, this will be the golden age of America. Will there be some pain? Yes, maybe and maybe not. But we will make America great again, and it will all be worth the price that must be paid. Following a repost of Trump's words on X, Community Notes pointed to a TD Economics, saying that the U.S. has had a trade surplus with Canada for the last 16 years straight, when not including the energy sector, or oil, natural gas, and electricity. Multiple others have weighed in on how the tariffs could affect the industry at large, highlighting the potential for price increases for the consumer, potential layoffs, and some even saying that it will shut the auto industry down altogether. In a report from Bloomberg on Sunday, Flavio Volpe, the president of the Canada Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association, said that he doesn't think the country's auto parts makers will be able to remain profitable with the tariffs in place. The auto sector is going to shut down within a week, Volpe said. At 25%, absolutely nobody in our business is profitable by a long shot. Others have warned of even more immediate effects, especially for Canadian and Mexican cities and states whose communities rely heavily on automotive manufacturing. One such city includes Windsor, Ontario, where John Dignolo, the union president of a local Ford factory there, says substantial numbers of layoffs could be imminent. We're talking about thousands and thousands of jobs being lost, Dignolo said. We'd truly be a ghost town here in Windsor if we lost this type of business. Ontario Premier Doug Ford has also warned that it could affect as many as 500,000 jobs across the province, which is Canada's most populated, with many of those being automotive roles. Many also expect the increased costs to be passed on to the consumer, though it's still unclear exactly what the repercussions of the tariffs could be. We could also see businesses absorb some or all of these costs, though some initial research seems to suggest that buyers will see higher sticker prices across the industry. It is going to be a lot of impact, Aruna Anand, chief executive officer of parts supplier Continental AG's North American business, said in an interview. The question is who is absorbing the price, and it becomes, are we able to absorb that price, or is it going to be shifted to the end consumer? In a separate report from Reuters on Saturday, it was suggested that automakers, such as General Motors (GM) and Toyota could, however, shift more production from overseas factories to those in the U.S., while major aluminum manufacturer Alcoa is considering rerouting plans that could potentially reduce tariffs. Many electric vehicle (EV) battery materials also come from metal mining operations in China, with some of these sectors just beginning to emerge domestically. Others also report that the move could undermine competitiveness in the American auto industry, ultimately increasing the cost of building cars in the U.S. Our American automakers should not have their competitiveness undermined by tariffs that will raise the cost of building vehicles in the United States and stymie investment in the American workforce, says Matt Blunt, the president of the American Automotive Policy Council, which represents Stellantis, GM, and Ford. During Tesla's Q4 earnings call last week, Chief Financial Officer Vaibhav Taneja also warned that tariffs could affect profitability for the company, since all of its production facilities utilize parts from around the globe. There's a lot of uncertainty around tariffs, Taneja said. Over the years, we've tried to localize our supply chain in every market, but we are still very reliant on parts from across the world for all our businesses. Therefore, the imposition of tariffs, which is very likely, will have an impact on our business and profitability. It's still not quite clear at this time how the tariffs may affect Tesla's prices. While Tesla has regularly advertised having the most American-made cars with final assembly for the market taking place at its factories in Texas and California, the company also gets a significant amount of components from Canada. In a filing with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration (NHTSA) in November, Tesla did disclose what percentage of its vehicle parts are made in either Canada or the U.S., as compared to other countries such as Mexico and Japan. Some of the figures also don't disclose where the remaining amounts come from, though they can give users an idea of how many components come from Mexico compared to either the USA or Canada. You can see that data for Tesla's vehicles below, though it's also worth noting that it does not show the ratio of US to Canadian parts, just a combined percentage from the two countries. Cybertruck, 65% from US and Canada, 25% from Mexico. Model 3 Long Range, 75% from US and Canada, 20% from Mexico. Model 3 Performance, 70% from US and Canada, 20% from Mexico. Model Y All Trims, 70% from US and Canada, 25% from Mexico. Model S, 65% from US and Canada, 20% from Mexico. Model Y, 60% from US and Canada, 25% from Mexico. Source: reposted and summarized from Zachary Visconti at teslarati.